Hey, good morning, guys. Good Saturday morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you happen to be. How's it going? Good, I hope. Good, I hope. So, let's see. New announcements. I ordered the Prince statue. I thought that was cool. Definitely going to get a hold of that when that comes in. It's made by Sideshow, I believe. Don't know. It's from Purple Rain, where he's on his little motorcycle. And let's see. There's another Venom made by a third-party company in transition. It's called the Variation. Ordered that. And ordered the Ultron from What If? What would you call him? Infinity Stone Ultron. Ordered 2 of those. And there's a Spider Woman outfit, I guess you would say, or Venom Woman outfit that's out. Ordered each of those. Or has been announced. Should be out in a couple of months, supposedly. And let's see, what else was there that was new? I think an Aragorn. I didn't order that, but that was new also, I think, is what I saw has come up lately. Started watching Wonder Woman 84. Thought it was pretty good. I haven't finished it yet. The only problem I had so far was they chose an actor that appeared so much like the real actor that I didn't quite understand that it was supposed to be or not supposed to be him in the first place. So it was a little confusing. I suppose that was good. Maybe that was their intent of when he showed up. Because obviously it wasn't him, and all of a sudden it was him, and my brain was like, "What the hell's going on here?" It took me a while to process what was actually going on. There wasn't enough difference in the appearance, in my opinion, to make it more clear as day to what I was actually witnessing. And they didn't do a very good job of explaining it either. So I'm not saying it wasn't undiscernible, I guess, but it was definitely, for a minute, I was scratching my head like, wait a minute. So who, what? I felt that if they had a little more different looking person, then it wouldn't have just been a my mind playing tricks on me, more or less. And that's just my own complaint in that regard. It really had nothing to do with anything other than I was just a little confused and lost there for a minute, trying to figure out what the hell was I actually seeing. And I guess that maybe that makes sense because she also was just a little bit confused and lost as to what the hell she's seeing. So maybe that works out good for that reason. My YouTube video is just snake chasing its tail, so can't see if I'm actually broadcasting totally on there. That says I'm live. Toys Mafia, good morning. I'm Batman. Um, was it? Jake, good morning. How you doing? Mini Maker, how's it going? CBS Sci-Fi, how's it going, man? can't tell whether my video has frozen or not. I have a new computer to put in here, and I need to do that. By the way, I don't know if Yelena had come out before or after last week, but I ordered her too. The what was her name? Natasha's sister from the Black Widow movie. I ordered her too. Okay, chat's working. Yay! Cool. I forgot to clean the lens also, so I hope that's good. All right, so I got 2 packages in. Don't remember which is which or even which is what. Or what is which or which is why. So we'll open one and see what happens. I think, is it next Thursday? Is that Eternals? Got my tickets to go through that. Looking forward to Eternals. I watched Hail to the King again. I haven't seen it in a long time. That was the little Marvel mini movie that they made to try to, I don't know, quell the anger over the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. If you've never seen that, you should check it out. It's on Disney now. Before you had to check it out by finding it on the web. And I don't even know if it was actually even on a real website, to tell you the truth. I don't even remember where it was. I seen it originally. But now it's on Disney. It's a nice little, gosh, I don't know, 15-minute, maybe 20-minute movie. Picking up a short period after Iron Man 3. Showing the fate of Trevor. And this was done years ago. So they knew then they were going to correct this whole thing that they had done when they'd made the Mandarin supposedly being Killian. And Trevor portraying him. Ben Kingsley portraying him. My wife loved Ben Kingsley. She met him years and years ago. A lot of tape on here, man. So yeah, it was kind of a, you know, I didn't know who the Mandarin was or the Ten Rings or anything because I really didn't follow Iron Man. But evidently he was a really bad superhero. Or not superhero. He was really evidently a big villain, evidently, in that storyline. Along with Roxxon Chemical was also another big factor in a lot of that. And in the Iron Man 3, they had a lot of the Roxxon company, not necessarily chemical. A lot of the Roxxon Chemical represented in the show as well. And, you know, they never followed that up with anything or anything. It was almost like as if they were just paying homage to it. And again, I'm not familiar with that much because Spider-Man was my main Marvel line, if you will, in the comics I read. So, of course, I knew Oscorp, Kingpin. I knew those guys. So, anyhow, if you haven't seen Hail to the King, I think it's Hail to the King. Go to Disney, check it out. It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. And if you have a chance to see it before seeing Ten Rings, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, Legend of the Ten Rings, I recommend doing that. And if you haven't, and you've already saw Ten Rings, that's fine. You may enjoy seeing this also because it's a prequel to the Ten Rings. So it's in between Iron Man 3 and the Ten Rings, dealing with Trevor, the Mandarin. All right, so we have a Miss Marvel. It needed more tape on this box. It wasn't as difficult to open as it could have been. They could have really made this very difficult to open. They really didn't make it as hard as they should have. I'm joking. That was a ridiculous amount of tape. My God. Oh my goodness. I'm so angry at my cell phone carrier, by the way. So you guys remember Captain America Civil War with Zemo. He lost his family and he had his cell phone so he could listen to the messages. I had all my messages from my wife on my cell phone. The gosh darn cell phone company erased all my saved messages. Those mother effers. Those messages had been on there. Some of those messages have been on there for years. So they're all gone. All of them gone. Lost all the messages from my wife on my cell phone. Some idiot decided to erase them, I guess. They figured, oh, what do you need these old messages for? We're not going to store them for you anymore. So they deleted them all. All my messages gone off my voicemail. And that pissed me off. All right, so Miss Marvel. So, you know, the story was Captain Marvel was a guy, and then they made Miss Marvel, and but it was always just a character that was never really loved by Marvel. I don't even know if they ever got a full-run, continuous line comic. They had to make a comic every now and again just to keep the name alive because Captain Marvel was also a name that DC was using. If you remember Shazam, it's called Captain Marvel. And I don't remember why or how Miss Marvel came about, but eventually she did become Captain Marvel. I think it was Captain America, as a matter of fact, that named her Captain Marvel. Because I think something happened to the real Captain Marvel. And again, this is a comic line I never followed, so I don't know exactly the whole story of it, but I do know that much of the deal. So that's where we have the female Captain Marvel, which would have been a nice or a better storyline, maybe, than what they did, in my opinion, with the movie. And I just think they went about the movie the wrong way. So, but that's one of those can of worms that, you know, it'll never truly be addressed properly in that regards. This feels like they put this on a Fison, to tell you the truth. Which is nice, if I could get her to stand up, because her shoulders are bare, and I whenever I see a seam, I don't want the seam to be there. You know what I mean? And so I would want to, at that point, fasten this character, this figure. But to see that it's already fastened, I'm good to go. She won't stand on her own. Stop trying to stand her. Let's see if there's a stand inside here. And there is not. And that's not uncommon. So she comes with pretty much nothing. Just 4 hands and a sash. Just fine. She doesn't need a bunch of accessories. But I have no problem with Captain Marvel. I have no problem with the movie, except that they just did a shitty job of making it. You know, they never made me give a shit about Captain Marvel. You know what I mean? There was never a moment where I just felt like, hell yeah, get in there and kick ass. And the hell yeah moment that should have been there was like soggy toast. You know? It was just, ugh. Okay, there she is. Wow. She's kicking ass. I kind of expected that. You know, there was never a moment where I was cheering for her. There was never a moment where I truthfully felt that she was going to die. You know what I mean? I like how Captain Marvel was portrayed in the What If series better. So I don't know if any of this could ever be redeemed. I would say maybe I have a more positive liking to her from the What If shows than from her own movie and or from Endgame. So I will say that they did a better job with her in What If than they did in the movies. It fits in here. Oh, this does. Trying to find something to stand her up with. From the Corvette side, the Z06 was announced Thursday, making it the most powerful Corvette that Chevrolet's ever offered, brand new, naturally aspirated. 670 horsepower, I think is what they said. It'll be available summer next year to 2023 Z06. So it's going to be a 70th anniversary vehicle. So then, of course, the question comes up, should I get the Z06 and not pick up a 2022 Corvette? Right? I have no intention of racing my Corvette on the track. And in all actuality, with that in mind, I'm not even sure I want to get the Z51 package. Is that what it is? Z51? The performance racing track package that they make for the standard Corvette. Because, yeah, I want a fast car. I have a fast car. My Camaro's pretty fast. Not by today's standards. Now, it's a 12-year-old car. So all the new Camaros and Corvettes are faster than it, but not from when it was 12 years ago. It wasn't. But it's fast. It's fast enough. But I want a Corvette because I want a Corvette. And really, I kind of want a Corvette because my wife told me I could get one. She was a car person. Her dad was a mechanic. Her dad held a few patents on stuff that he had made for cars and stuff. And so she was a car person. She loved cars. And I remember when I showed her the picture of the new Corvette, the C8 Corvette, as it was coming out. Um, I just showed her the picture on my cell phone. I said, I'm getting this. I was really looking for some type of a reaction to me saying that. You know, like, are you out of your mind? Or, no, you're not. Or, there's better things to do with your money or your life than spend it on a Corvette. And literally what she said was, what are you going to do with Bumblebee? My wife loved Bumblebee. She loved my Camaro. She thought Bumblebee was the neatest thing on the planet. She really loved Bumblebee. And she was literally afraid that I was going to get rid of my Camaro. Should I buy a Corvette? And that was her question. What are you going to do with Bumblebee? And I said, keep him. And she said, so you'd have a Corvette and a Camaro? And I think that was where she was trying to hit me with logic. And I said, yeah, why not? And that was it. So she didn't say, yeah, go buy one. But what she didn't say was, no, you can't buy one, or no, you shouldn't buy one, or don't buy one. So, man, woman language. She didn't say no, which is as good as far as a yes to me. Unlike the asking the permission of, hey, the guys are going out to a strip club tonight. Can I go with them to the strip club? Now, that answer of not saying no doesn't mean yes. So there's a different line there. So she actually was looking forward to a Corvette, believe it or not. And it kind of, her health went down shortly after that. And the priority never became, from that moment of getting a Corvette, the priority then became taking care of her and whatnot. And Corvette went out the window. But the next door neighbor was giving me a little bit of hassle. Why don't I keep the van? You should keep the van. Why sell the van? And I'm like, because it's a specialty vehicle. It's made specifically for transporting people with medical needs in wheelchairs or mobility devices. I said, you can't use it for anything else. You can't use it to carry passengers because it's not a comfortable passenger seating vehicle at this point. It's made for carrying medical personnel short distances. It's not meant for going across country. It can't be used as a cargo van because you can't rip out all these sections that they've put into this thing. It's essentially worthless to a normal person to use for anything other than that. And I said, on top of that, if I'm going to spend this kind of money on a vehicle, I told him, and it just wasn't really a thought at that point because this was years later. We're talking 2019 versus this year, so a handful of months ago. I said, besides, if I was going to spend money on this kind of money on a vehicle, I would have bought a Corvette. And that's when all of a sudden it triggered on me again. The Corvette came back into my mind. So that's why the Corvette is in my sights. Specifically because my wife was looking forward to it. I've never owned one. She never had one. And it's a cool looking car. This made it in a C8 Corvette is. So I'm looking at this foot. And there's like glue residue where they glued the heel to the shoe. Can you see that? All the way around that right shoe. So somebody got messy and sloppy on assembly day. So I could truthfully say Hot Toys never did that. As sloppy as Hot Toys has become at times, they never were that sloppy. I don't know if that can be dug out with perhaps my knife here and just chiseled away. to make it not so prominent. It's not as noticeable. On the left foot, there's just a little bitty bit of it right there at the heel on the left foot, but the right foot is practically all the way around the entire shoe is this glue residue where they glued the heel or the sole and heel of the shoe onto the leather. So if I wanted to mess with it, I suppose that's probably what I would do. I'd probably just take the sharp knife there, or an X-Acto knife and a blade, and just try to gouge that out a little bit without gouging it out. So that's a little disappointing. The hair looks great for a rooted hair figure. So this isn't supposed to be Brie Larson, right? It's just supposed to be a comic book character, Captain Marvel. But it doesn't not look like her. So you could I don't know, maybe possibly see a semblance of Brie Larson in this sculpt. It's not bad, actually, as far as that goes. The zipper goes all the way up the thigh here on this boot. So you could, I imagine, remove this. And it definitely feels like a Fison figure under here. TB League. Whether or not it is, I couldn't tell you. I don't remember seeing that being listed in the ordering of this, but I don't remember, truthfully, ordering it either as well. The mask is sculpted onto the face, so it's not coming off. The back of the suit has a zipper, so you could remove it should you need to or want to. This would have been a real challenge to get these arm bands, or whatever you'd call these, sleeves, up this, because the pleather or leather or vinyl or whatever this is, rubbing against this material, this silicone or TPE or whatever this is, would have been difficult. Probably the easiest way that I would have done would be to wrap some saran wrap around this, clear cling wrap, and slide it up with that, and then try to remove the saran wrap after getting this up here. With that said, I definitely feel like I want to pull it down just a teensy bit to make sure it covers the wrist there, because I think these are supposed to be gloved like opera gloves all the way up to the bicep. And of course, you know, she's fully articulated as far as that goes. Normally, though, on the detachable feet, which this definitely is, they're a little more stable to stand on, but this one definitely is not. So, detachable versus seamless feet, it's almost impossible to stand a seamless foot figure up on their own, but attachable foot figure, like this Joy that's been Fison, stands on her own quite well. The ankles are normally very strong. So it's unusual for them to be so difficult to respond here. And I don't know why that is. I'm not taking off the boot to find out. But she looks good. If you are a Captain Marvel fan, I don't think you'll go wrong getting Miss Marvel here. We'll put the sash on her here in a minute. And of course, if you're not a Captain Marvel fan, or if you specifically hate the direction they've gone with Captain Marvel, then no, you'll obviously pass on this piece. No doubt about that. I have no problem. I have no real problem with the whole thing. I just wish that I wish they just went about it with a different mindset than what they did. So let's see, how's the little sash wrapped around there? Looks like I'm going to try to duplicate that sash tie on that with this sash. Also, the finger she comes with is, this is an interesting looking hand set here, by the way. The fingertip kind of bends backwards as it points out, which is interesting. So it's not necessarily a true relaxed hand, because the fingertip kind of bends backwards. I don't know if that's supposed to be bent backwards like that, or if it was by accident. Jesus. Swear I need to fix this room. I need to just get with the program. Stop screwing around. But I think it's supposed to be the relaxed hand. And then we have two straight up fists. You can't put anything in these fists. Two of these. Two holding hands. So fists designed to hold a sword or a staff. Two trigger finger hands. And then two kind of, I'm pointing at you, but not really pointing at you, giving you two fingers, hands. So they're mirrored. Left and right is the same on both of those, on those sets of hands. Man, Halloween weekend, guys. Halloween is mostly an American holiday, though other portions of the world celebrate these types of event. From All Saints Day on November 1st. It's definitely more of an American thing, the whole Halloween trick-or-treating thing, from my understanding of it all. So I don't know how much of the rest of the world is doing anything, if anything, with Halloween this year. People have stopped more or less trick-or-treating per se as it is where I live. Like 5 years ago, we had like maybe 10 kids come to the house. And then the number just kept getting less and less. And last year didn't have any kids at all come knocking on the door trick-or-treating. So I still buy a big old bag of candy. And then try not to eat it. So if any kid comes by here, they get candy. They really just get it. I just take a handful, fill half their bag up. Here you go. Go home now. You got all the candy. You made out like a bandit. So if you live in my area, you're looking for a place to trick or treat, knock on my door. You'll get some candy. So this is folded over, so it's actually twice as wide. So you fold it over. There's an open end on the bottom and a close in at the top, and put the close in at the top. By the way. Oh, there's another movie coming out. I wasn't able to buy tickets yet. It's not out that much yet. with Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds. And I'm really looking forward to that movie. It looks funny. Red something or other, I think is what it's called, if I remember correctly. And so far I just put one little swoops in there. Give a thought on how I'm going to do this. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to it looks like they tied it like a tie. Right? And I got to tell you, it's been a long time since I've tied a tie. The new Ultron, Save on Mason, nice. Good. That's awesome. Hello, how's it going? Jewel Dillon, welcome from the UK. Willie, good morning. Welcome, everyone. And she didn't get fit in the movie, and she didn't want revealing outfits when Captain America is half naked coming out of the sarcophagus. Can't argue that, right? Talking about Pig. You're talking about Captain Carter, right? She's definitely now. Wow, get that vet. Yeah, right. Thanks, Damon. Robert, happy Saturday. Enjoy the Corvette. Yeah, I'm hoping spring. I'm hoping is going to be the delivery. Get a Yugo. My wife actually owned a Yugo. Rubbish shoes for fact. Get a Gremlin. I owned a Gremlin. My parents owned a Pacer. I owned a Pinto. So we've already been down that route. Been there, done that. I have seen station wagons. It was either a BMW or a Mercedes I saw as a new station wagon. I forget. Maybe it was an Audi. One of those three had a station wagon. Wait till you drive it. The MJ's on the left. I just realized today Mary Jane Watson equals marijuana. Right? Isn't that funny? Damon saying, welcome from across the pond. Great Hallows Eve. Yeah, that's what today would be. Halloween Eve. Hallows Eve. I'm tempted about 4K Universal Monster set, but I had the Blu-ray. I'm wondering if it's worth pickup. I don't know what my opinion is of that anymore, of buying Blu-rays and whatnot, because, gosh, they're streaming everything anymore. Sugar Rush holiday right now. Now, I have big screen TVs, by the way. I have a 75-inch TV. My wife's computer monitor was a 55-inch, and my computer monitor is a 43-inch. Brie Fromage Larson, Unfit No Bum. Did you see the 1/6 Bela Lugosi Dracula figure? It looks incredible. I did not see that. Who is making that? I'm curious. I am curious. Hey, we have video. All right, so if I'm tying this as a tie, I need to make these different lengths. So let's rethink this for a second. Physical Blu-ray, digital Blu-ray, something sold on. So let me see if I remember how to tie a tie. Only one piece longer than the other. How about it, guys? When's the last time you tied a tie? Some of you may still be in a job that you wear a tie to. Kind of miss that we no longer dress up. That's the truth. I have to say. All right, let's see if I can think through this. Hold on now. Gosh, when was the last time I tied a tie? Maybe. Gosh, 7 years ago? 7 years ago, I think, was the last time I tied a tie. And this is looking terrible. I've forgotten how to tie a tie. I may have to go get a tie out of my closet, see if I can tie the gosh darn thing. Do you remember how to tie this? I'm gonna have to go do that. Classic Plastic doing Bela Lugosi because it looks stunning. I think they did a Rocky a while back. So I love that for let me go get a tie. Let's see if I can remember how to tie a tie. Well, you young kids never have to learn how to do this, I guess, right? All right, let's see. Go like this, right? And then around like this. And then and down like that. Single knot, half knot Windsor, slip knot Windsor. And if you want the double knot, just do it twice. Wrap it around once like this with a double knot, and then once around like this to get that, then around the whole thing, down and done. It's a double knot. Hold it in the middle to pinch it, put the dimple there, tighten it up, and there's a full Windsor. So let me get my brain back to thinking on this again so I could tie her sash as a tie. Okay, so around it. And then around it, up and through it. Down and through it, I guess, actually. All right. Think I've got it in my mind again. Learn to tie a tie. At least a tie. Even though they have clip-ons, nothing like a tie. If you ever get the opportunity to wear one, at least you know how to do it, right? All right. So wrap it around, up and down. Wrap it around. Now, I don't know how to tie a bow tie. So if you know how to tie a bow tie, you got me there. There we go. And hopefully, if I judge this properly, which I don't think I did, these will be a good distance together after it's all said and done. Hey, not bad. Not bad. I think I did pretty good. What do you think? And I like also, there's no wire in here. but the tie knot itself puts some life to the sash, I guess you could say, instead of it just dangling down. I think that works. I think we have a nice Miss Marvel here. Pleased with her. I'm pleased with her. And again, like I said, the sculpt kind of resembles Brie Larson, even though Brie never wore this outfit. She is our Captain Marvel, right? I do need to do something with this glue on this shoe, and I don't like how these just doesn't want to fit right. Something's going on down there, and I don't know what it is. So there's that. Now let's open up this other box, see what I got there. I've news Blu-ray of Transformers the movie, animated, but now I hear it's in 4K. I don't know if it's better than the Blu-ray set. What is the Blu-ray definition? Coffin to the Dracula is a nice touch. I'm thinking going the neck route with the Universal Monsters. Cool. Just get a clip on Siri. Let's get a clip on tie. A nice touch, and you can't go wrong with the Universal Monsters. There you go. There's a good opinion, right? The head sculpt is insanely good. On the Dracula, the Bela Lugosi, I imagine you're talking about. And really tempted. It's damn good like this, Bela Lugosi. I wanted to see drops. Like line right through there, but Hot Toys. Hot Toys is slipping. Hot Toys is slipping. I don't know why. Pure profit items selling them for freaking $500. Can't get over that Carnage, man. That Carnage better be freaking. That Carnage better be through the freaking roof. That's all I got to say. Not as much tape this time. Same company, by the way. Shipped both of these packages. What? I ordered 2 of these. Well. There you have it. Wonder why I ordered 2. What was I thinking that day? I don't know. I don't know. The 2 I have. I've been wanting to fasten this other Joy here. I was pleased how this one turned out. I think one of these had a broken strap and I had to glue it on, and I don't remember which one it was. But Joy had 2 outfits that she came with. And I want to put the other outfit on her, if I can find it. Because I've just been stacking stuff up here instead of taking care of my collection properly. Let's get Vision's tie in with Vision's suit. Speaking of Vision, I wish they'd given us a Paul Bettany head sculpt for this suit. Yeah, this is cute and all, but I really kind of wish I had a Paul Bettany's head sculpt with this. It's funny going so many years without a Vision, but only one Vision figure, you know, from Age of Ultron, to now getting, gosh, you got the white one, right? And Vision Infinity, and the third-party Visions here, including the green and yellow Retro Vision. I'm going to find Joy's outfit. God, I really need to spend time in here. I don't know what is wrong with me. I hope I didn't put it in a box. I'll never find it if that's the case. I think I did. I think I did. I did. So there's no getting to that. You know what? I've got these Star Wars figures down here that I've not opened at all. At all. So let's have a look at good old Obi-Wan. So when the Land Speeder was announced by Juice Jazz Inc., I went ahead and ordered that. I was really excited about getting it, and really disappointed when it finally arrived and it was pretty subpar, in my opinion. But in getting that then opened up a whole can of worms of now collecting more Star Wars than just the droids, right? So I started chasing down figures to be able to recreate the Tatooine scene of Ben and Luke, C-3PO and R2-D2 surrounded by stormtroopers as they're looking for the droids that launched off of the was it an Imperial cruiser? No, what was it? Princess Leia's transport ship, Alderaan. What was that ship called? Anyhow, it's the one where he sits, Luke's or Ben sits there and says, "These are not the droids you're looking for," and shows us the Jedi mind trick. The first appearance, if I remember correctly, of the Jedi mind trick in the movies. So, I've been tracking down figures to recreate that, as to one day be able to display my disappointing land speeder with Luke and Ben and R2 and 3PO and some stormtroopers. So I've not opened any of these figures. This was owned by somebody else, obviously. I think this came out in like 2015 or 16. This Ben. I seen a funny video the other day on YouTube where somebody had taken the song "Somebody I Used to Know" and the video from that song and turned it into singing, instead of "Somebody I Used to Know," the Star Wars that I used to know. Give me the Star Wars that I used to know. Really cleverly done. Really cleverly done. Somebody I used to know. Star Wars that I used to know. So you Star Wars fans probably have this figure. Probably had it for years. So there's Section A of the instruction manual on how to install this lightsaber, and Section B. Section C on how to hang the lightsaber off of his waist. And this is showing the figure stand. Evidently, you can take multiple figure stands of this type and put them together. But ideally, my Ben's going to be in the land speeder with Luke, so we won't be using that figure stand. But I'm sure I can figure something out with that figure stand, because a lot of the R2s and C3s don't come with figure stands that aren't necessarily anything other than Tatooine bases or nothing at all. So let's get Ben out of the box. Um, my fingers are not sticky at all, but you know your fingertips might have like broken skin on them or whatever. So as I'm touching this, I'm literally clinging to it like Spider-Man would cling to something. By the way, if you've ever experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. My wife has this robe. It's so funny. It's a raincoat, is what it was, a hooded raincoat. And whenever she wears it, people think she was a Jedi. It's so funny. Um, People will say to her literally, "Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope." That's what people say whenever they see her, thinking she's looking like a Jedi Knight. "Help me, Obi-Wan. You are my only hope." That's literally, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say that to my wife when she would wear her raincoat. "Help me, Obi-Wan. You are my only hope." First time she heard it, somebody say that to her, it didn't dawn on her what they were referencing. She's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" She goes, "You look like an Obi-Wan Kenobi or a Jedi Knight." She didn't see it at first. So that was interesting. Interesting plague here. Very interesting. You could literally put this virtually anywhere on this. So I see how they're saying about making these so they could be attached to others. What's the little piece they were saying you would use for that? Figure stand be lined together with the same type of figure stand to create a larger base. It looks like as if the name badge can be pulled off of this. That's what it appears. I don't know. I should keep these instructions out because there's no batteries in here, just an empty case. So, of course, the person that sold it to me on eBay didn't include the batteries because one or two things: either the batteries expired or blew up or whatever. Um, I don't think this comes off though. Sure doesn't look like it does. It does. It does indeed. I think. I'm afraid to stick in there. I don't want to destroy this plaque here on the front. Do any of you know that this come off? I mean, it looks like it does in the instruction manual. And what's this grate supposed to represent? Is this on the Death Star? Is that what this is supposed to be? From the Death Star? Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Give me back my Star Wars that I used to know. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. Uh-oh. His belt's falling apart. Literally falling apart. And that falls under the category of the pleather dissolving. So his belt is dissolving itself. God, the likeness is incredible. I really see Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan Kenobi looking at this head sculpt, by the way. I mean, that's quite remarkable. I'm quite impressed with that, I must say. That's pretty incredible. Very impressed with that. And given the time frame of this, this was about the time that they were transitioning into making more believable head sculpts. So, this is nice. There's his boots. Looking at Alec Guinness' portrayal of Obi-Wan as he was much older in life, we never really got to see him do any, for the most part, any ass kicking. So then the younger Obi-Wan did a lot of ass kicking, and seeing these boots and these pants on here, I mean, I can see the younger Obi-Wan kicking ass. So seeing this outfit as it is, I wouldn't have a problem putting on this outfit with the younger Obi-Wan, should that be what you wish to do. I don't have any need to build a younger Obi. I really don't plan on collecting Star Wars figures. I've only collected the droids and the land speeder. So this is for the land speeder. Help me, Obi-Wan. You are my only hope. I don't remember whether or not he had his hood up or not in that scene. Riding around the land speeder. Doesn't look bad at all. Let's see if batteries goes in this lightsaber. I don't expect it to be very bright, and of course, certainly not keeping the batteries in it. LR621s, of course. LR621 is the batteries in this. Last week you need to finish your episode 4 Star Wars figures. I'm missing a 160C3PO. I'm thinking I go cheap on him and just buy a 12-inch Hasbro 3PO. I have the 12-inch Hasbro 3PO, and the head is mess. I would recommend trying to track down a Sideshow C3PO. Hasbro maybe made it one that came apart, but Sideshow didn't. You have the arm can come off of the Sideshow one. Mono just put out a 1/6 scale creature from the Black Lagoon Silver Screen series. I want it now. There's this funny video somebody made starring, I think it was Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't remember, but they just put type over the video, and it shows them going around smashing stuff. And it's like, F this fence, F that bird, F this guy, F this gate. It's funny as how my wife loved watching that. She cracked her up all the time watching that. Obi-Wan's lightsaber. Don't know if that's going to focus in or not for you. Evidently, the blade comes out, so you can put it into the hand. So there's 3 lightsabers here in this box. You have one that's integrated into the hand, one with the blade, and one that won't hold the blade. And both the one that holds the blade and won't hold the blade, actually all 3 of them have a hanger on them. To dangle off of Ben's belt. I find it interesting that they would include one that doesn't hold the blade. I mean, it's almost like redundant. Why? What's the point in having one that doesn't hold the blade? I mean, truthfully, just take the blade out of the one that does hold the blade. I mean, I suppose if you're a lightsaber collector in this 1/6 lineup and you need an Obi-Wan blade in addition to your Obi-Wan, so if you got this one hanging on his belt and you wanted to have a display of all the lightsabers, you could have this then in addition to the display. I just find it interesting that they would include a 3rd handle. Of course, this one don't come out of the hand. It's part of the hand. And then, of course, you're going to hang one on his belt, which I imagine would be this one. So what would this be? Maybe just a display. Maybe people collect 1/6 scale lightsabers. I've seen people that have the life-size lightsabers just lined up on a wall or something to that effect, or people that actually LARP with their lightsabers. Some of them are, strikeable. I just find it interesting that there's another piece in here. The more the merrier on the accessories. So I guess I'm really not complaining. I'm just surprised. Maybe this is back before Hot Toys started becoming so stingy. Blade really doesn't sit in there specifically straight, and I don't want to keep futzing with it because I'm sure I'll break it, but it's just kind of irritating me a little bit that it's not in there necessarily straight as it should be. It's bothering me. Leave it alone. I mean, I will straight up break it by messing with it. All right, what hands do we have here? So we have 2 relaxed hands. Okay. Here is his "these are not the droids you're looking for" hand. These are not the droids you're looking for. I always do it with my right hand. These are not the droids you're looking for, but he hurts with his left hand. The 2 fingers. These are not the droids you're looking for. These aren't the droids we're looking for. You can go now. You can go now. You can go now. Move along. Move along. Move along. Of course, it was so interesting seeing the movie back then and not knowing the story. Nobody really knew the story back then, okay? So we didn't understand why the stormtroopers were so stupid. We didn't understand the loss of life. You know, what was going on? How did all this come about? How could these people be that sold to the government? Didn't realize they were coming from clones. All sorts of different things weren't necessarily answered. You know, what did Princess Leia mean when she said, you know, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? You know, because they were all clones, right? They were all the same size, right? Isn't that what the deal was? Were they clones at that point still? Were the clone troopers still the stormtroopers? Right? Or were they all recruited at that point? Obviously, later they were recruited. They weren't using clones anymore. But weren't they all clones at that point? So we have 2 relaxed hands. We have the 1 force hand. Then we have 2 grasping, holding hands. In case you want to put a staff or something in his hands. Two wrist pegs. Never can seem to have enough wrist pegs. And then, of course, 3 batteries. But we have batteries here. We should be able to use. Give me back the Star Wars that I used to know. LR41. LR621s. Here we go. Let's see if we can put some batteries in here. I have yet to find my jeweler's screwdriver set. I have no idea what the hell I did with that. Use the Hot Toys provided screwdriver. It did not come with this set. These came later. Works well. Look for corrosion. I don't see any. See if we can get some batteries in here and see what happens. I don't think I've gotten a Luke yet. If anything, that's the piece that I'm missing for my set. I think I've got enough stormtroopers. I've got R2D2s and C3POs. But I think I want to have an R2D2 and a C3PO that I don't mind cutting up because 3PO has to sit in that land speeder in an unusual manner. And I don't think his legs bend. Which, of course, is pretty much canon in regards to things. He didn't really sit properly, right? Threw my battery on the ground. All right. I just put that battery in backwards. Gosh dang it. Let's put him back in there again. Ooh, 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 we got a light. We got a light. 2 powers it, by the way. You know, this actually fits in nicer into this than it did that. Isn't that interesting? Has a nice glow, goes all the way up the blade. I'm quite shocked. First time I've ever seen one of these. I don't believe I remember Rey having one. Does anybody remember if Rey came with a built-in lightsaber that lit up? I think she didn't. Let's kill some lights here. The light travels up the blade nicely. I imagine you guys can see that. Looks really good. Very clean. Fills up very nicely. Quite impressed, actually. There was something else, if I remember correctly, that was lit up in a similar fashion that didn't light well. So this, I think, lights well. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was Whiplash. The original Whiplash um, didn't light up worth a flip. Either one of them, actually. Now, Denobi did an interesting custom with that, where he used some organic light. It turned out really good. What he did, he put an organic light strip through that, cut up his Whiplash whips, and did that. Really, really impressive if you want to light up your Whiplash. But this is really nice. This lit up very well. Quite impressed, actually. In case you're curious how well this lights up, I give it a 10 out of 10 in that regards. I think I remember also, though, somebody has made fluorescent um, lights for these, which are neat. You know, there's a cap at the end of it because the fluorescent tube has to travel in between that. So lighting them up looks neat, but with them just on display, you can see the cap at the end of it. And I've not seen those in several years, so I don't know if they're still available, if the person's still making them that makes those. I can't imagine why he wouldn't still offer them. If you're a Star Wars fan and you want those look really nice. I've never seen one in person, but I remember the images, and I remember being quite impressed with them. So, of course, we're not putting Obi-Wan's saber in his hand, though I suppose we could. Uh, I don't know. He may have had this at the ready when they went into Tatooine. Maybe this wasn't necessarily hanging on to his belt. Maybe as he was sitting in the speeder, he may have had it in his hand, needing it at any given moment's notice. I don't know. Um, so I might want to put it on in his hand in the vehicle. Or not. Do any of y'all know? Was his hand clearly not holding his lightsaber? Was it obviously hanging on to his belt? So his cuff on his shirt has a piece of Velcro here. So you can pull the shirt up past the elbow. In order to be able to swap out this. I don't know if I want to pull this out or not, to tell you the truth. Matter of fact, it feels it in there very tight. So that's how that goes in there. Simple as that. Easy peasy. And his belt's off again. I end up having to glue this because this belt is just disintegrating. Which might be another reason to put the belt saber in his hand rather than on the belt for my display. This poor belt's had it. Which, of course, scares me with that Mark V Iron Man suit that they're building, because my Mark V racing suit has totally dissolved. I have a Black Widow up there, totally dissolved. I mean, it's really, really irksome to spend this kind of money on this kind of stuff just to have your pieces dissolve on you. I mean, for real. By the way, I think it was a Luke Skywalker, a Mark Hamill uh, interview or comment that I was watching that I think was talking about they George had told them when they were filming with the lightsabers that it was a two-handed weapon. It had to be wielded with two hands. That was the purpose of it. So that explains also why then when Obi turns this on, his hand is so far down the hilt that instead of higher up here in order to get a good grip on it, because he would then take his left hand and wrap it around up here for the double-handed wield of the lightsaber. But it was supposed to be fought using two hands. By the way, in case you didn't know that. And I think that looks great. And I believe I'll have his lightsaber in his hand going into the land speeder. And I've got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with that land speeder. I mean, because I want to display the 5 or 7 stormtroopers that are standing around him as well. It's 5. So I'm going to need, more or less the size of a kitchen table to be able to display that almost. Or a coffee table at the very least. Speaking of something that size, the Iron Scavenger, the Jazz Inc. Vulture. So I've bought and paid for that, just waiting on it to be delivered sometime in the next 6 months. What the hell am I going to do with that when that arrives? Because it's going to be just as big. My goodness. It'll be a beast. Seen a YouTube video somebody had made. It showed Luke sitting in Ben Kenobi's house, if you will, on Tatooine, and it shows him picking up Anakin's lightsaber, right? And it shows him looking at it like this, into where the blade extends out of it, and then the blade coming on and going right through his face and killing him. And it said the end. And then it ran the end credits for Star Wars. I thought that was pretty clever. Somebody had done that. Your father's lightsaber. The end. Da, 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 da. One of the funniest fan videos I'd ever saw. And this is an old video. This is back before YouTube ever even dreamed of being in existence. Back before everybody and their brother was making videos. And I've not been able to find this video anywhere. I suppose if I searched really hard, I probably could. But it showed this. I mean, his fans did a really good job of this. I'm talking about this was made probably early 90s. So this ship comes and flies into this planet, lands on a typical landing spot outside of a building. A robed character walks off of the ship through this area and approaches the Emperor, and he says, welcome, you are the only Sith or whatever, because I don't remember what the whole story was back then. I guess they said there could only be one Sith at a time or something. And he goes, you're here for your final test. And then all of a sudden another Sith showed up. And so it was a very neat lightsaber battle. And again, this was made back in the 90s. And these two Sith lords are fighting each other to the death. And it has a very interesting ending. And it's very funny. But God, it was really done really well. And I don't know whether I should tell you the ending. But I have a hard time believing you'll ever be able to find this with my very limited description. But some fan movies videos out there are absolutely stunning. And again, this was done long time before everybody and their brother had access to this type of equipment to be able to make your own fan videos, specifically Star Wars fan videos, rotoscoping lightsabers and whatnot. So this was done old school by some people that really knew what they were doing. And I wish I knew more about it. I could tell you the whole video, but I really don't want to. I want it to. Should you be able to find this gem, I want you to be able to enjoy it instead of knowing how it ends. And I don't remember if there was a name associated to it or anything. But it was quite a cleverly, very well done video, fan-made video of Star Wars. We didn't know Jar Jar sold us up the river and threw us into the Galactic Civil War. Have you seen that theory that Jar Jar was actually a Sith? It's pretty interesting when you watch some of the footage that people have put together. There's a lot of videos out there that discuss that, showing different footages of it. One of the videos shows Jar Jar, and again, I don't know without watching the movie whether or not this was truly what was going on or not, but it seems that he's speaking, telling them what to say, and then they say it using the Force, the mind trick, the Jedi mind trick. And so with this argument that people have that Jar Jar is the Sith Lord in the very first movie and was supposed to be, the bad guy, and in the end of it, it would have been interesting to see that go along. But I guess from what the theory is, that there was such a backlash against Jar Jar that George pulled that plan at the last minute and created Count Dooku to be the bad guy, which really didn't seem to fit in very well to the whole thing. It's like, who the hell is this? Where's he coming from? And why is he all of a sudden suddenly the bad guy? But essentially they were claiming that Jar Jar's Jedi fighting style is a style of some drunken fist or drunken monkey or something. I don't remember what it was called, but a very clumsy fighting style, and that's what he fought like. But it's very interesting. Watch if you're interested. watch some of those theories on Jar Jar being the Sith Lord, and it'll definitely change your opinion. And if that was truly the case, which it appears so from these people's videos that they have made, I wish that they had done that. I wish that they had followed through with Jar Jar being the Sith Lord instead of embarrassingly tucking him under the carpet and saying, "Oh, sorry, we did that." But it would have been a better. It would have made better sense than just Jar Jar being a blithering idiot, giving him a reason to be a blithering idiot because he didn't want everyone to realize that he truthfully was the Sith Master, the one controlling the whole thing, specifically selling us up the river. Right? Very interesting. If you've not seen that, research that. So normally I don't recommend if you can't get this, if it doesn't, to leave this wrist peg where it is. But I just decided just to pull it out. I normally say leave it alone. If it wants to stay in the hand, leave it in the hand. If it wants to stay in the arm, leave it in the arm. That's why you have multiple wrist pegs. But I didn't follow through with my advice on that one, did I? I want to put his. These are not the droids you're looking for. Hand in here. It's very interesting. Many of the videos that people have made, I've watched several of these about the Jar Jar theory, and each one of them has just a little bit different information than the others, but they all agree that Jar Jar was a Sith Lord. He's the bad guy. And it totally makes sense when you start thinking about it with that in mind. And that's always nice to do, to watch a movie backwards, more or less. Watch the movie the first time, enjoy it, whatever it is. When they do the big reveal, then watch it the second time with all that knowledge and see how many hints or clues or statements that somebody has made telling you the end of the movie at the beginning of the movie. It's very interesting. It's fun and enlightening to watch a show or a movie with that knowledge and specifically look for any instance of somebody referencing or saying or doing something that falls into line with that, which you didn't realize the first time you were watching the movie if you didn't know the outcome of the movie as it was, right? Yeah, Damon, I agree. That lightsaber is pretty impressive. I'm actually blown away by that. Yeah, and I don't remember who it was that makes those custom lightsabers. If you know who that is, I think they're fluorescents. I don't think they're LEDs. I think they're fluorescent tubes because at the end of it, the gas has to travel. It's excited gas, and so at the end of it has the other charging element to that, and so they have a black tip at the end of it so that the fluorescent can travel through them. I'm pretty sure they're fluorescents. He is animated as a Sith Lord. There you go, Jewel. There you go. Read the Bink books. So there's a whole book series about Jar Jar as well. Do they follow along the same line that he's a Sith Lord? Because the main character in the first two novels of the Xanth series, a spell for champions and the source of magic, then it is great reading. Interesting. But yeah, I enjoyed that theory, and it's nice to hear that you guys are familiar with it as well, so I'm not just totally crazy and out of my mind, although I'm sure that's up for debate. We may have to have a discussion about that one day. whether or not I'm totally crazy and out of my mind. Dumb luck power. So does Jar Jar. So Bink is another. So Jar Jar Binks is not Bink. Two different people. Is that what you're saying? So by the way, did I tell you that they announced the Z06 Corvette? I think I did. They're claiming 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.3 seconds. That's moving. That's moving. That is moving. I don't remember how fast my Camaro gets there. It's not 2.3 seconds. I think it does a quarter mile in under 13. My Camaro does. But the Corvette, this Z06 is totally insane in that regards. Lots of videos out there of the new Z06 if you want to see it. It's really a beautiful looking Corvette. Beautiful. But I was on the fence of getting the is it Z51? Is that what it's called? Track package. And some people say don't get it unless you plan on taking it to the track, which I don't. And other people say, get it because it's an option people are going to want later when you try to sell it. But, the dollar amount that you put into it in the first place versus the dollars that you get later on when you sell it. I mean, you have to hold on to the gosh darn thing for 50 years in order to get that back. Right? So, the world's going on with my computer here. So, I don't think I should doubt the Z06 is out. I think I want to just get, the regular fast Corvette. I don't need to have the super fast Corvette because I want to enjoy driving the car. I don't want to get beat up while I'm driving it down the road. And when they make it the track package, even with the magnetic ride suspension, it's still you're driving in a sports car. And it's not like driving the Mercedes, which is a nice luxury car, like driving down the street in your couch. It's like driving down the street in a metal folding chair, essentially. You're going to feel every bump, every dip in the road, every piece of gravel that you drive over. What in the world is going on? Still broadcasting over there, it appears. Seems to be having problems here. The internet went out the other day for almost an entire day. It went out like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, didn't come on until like 10 o'clock in the morning the next day. Well, I tell you, it's a crying shame when you don't know what to do with yourself when you don't have internet. It's a crying shame. Couldn't watch TV, couldn't play on the computer, couldn't do anything. I literally was stuck to having to look at my phone. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that was like my biggest problem? Oh my God, I've got to look at my phone for entertainment. Plenty of books in the house. Plenty of things I could have done around the house. Like clean up this room. Nope, I just complained that there was no internet. And I am not getting a feed over here, so I'm wondering if my internet went down. Oh, wait, stuff coming in. Fact, the Star Wars are all Jar Jar's fault. Noggin. 48 minutes on Jar Jar Bink theory. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. It's interesting. Like I said, I watched several of those videos, and it's very believable. And it's nice to hear, Jewel, that you are sold on that idea, and you're saying that there's evidence that backs that up. So go for it. And I don't know, did the Hot Toys ever make a Jar Jar figure? Again, I haven't been following Star Wars collectibles that much in regards to Hot Toys or Sideshow, but it'd be very interesting to get him and put him together as a Sith Lord, give him a lightsaber and the whole 9 yards. Right? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? So I guess I've about kept you guys long enough. It's almost 2 hours. So I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a safe Halloween. If you go out and celebrate, don't imbibe too much. Have a good time. I wonder how many of you are planning on going as a Squid Games character. I've not watched Squid Games yet. I plan on it. It seems really interesting. If you guys have been watching Squid Games, I'm curious what your opinion is of it. but it sure looks interesting. If you're not familiar with what Squid Games is, um, essentially the premise of it is, and I'm not sure where it takes place, be it Japan, Korea, China, I'm not sure. But in this Squid Games reality, they recruit humans who are extensively in debt over their head, and they put them into childhood games where you get to play the games as an adult that you played as a child, only with dire consequences. They tell you right off the bat when they recruit you, they recruit you by literally kidnapping you, and you wake up in the game facility with these people wearing these masks with a circle, a square, a triangle. Very much like the console controller um, buttons on their face. So you can't see who they are. They're wearing a black mask with these triangle or circle or square on them. And they tell you, if you want out, you speak now or you're committed to the games. They don't really explain to them that there's a dire consequence of death if you don't win. So you either die or you win. And so it's very morbid in that regards. Definitely not a kids' television show. Don't get Squid Games confused with SpongeBob SquarePants, because it's not. And in the commercial, you see them playing the game, simply the game red light, green light, which is where, if you remember when you were a kid, one kid faces you all, you're all in a line, and faces you all and says red light, because they're looking at you, and you can't move. You have to freeze solid during red light. You're not allowed to move at all. And then the kid will turn around with his back to you and say green light. And during the green light mode is when you have to try to advance to touch the red light, green light kid. And if you touch him, then you win and you get to be the red light, green light kid. And everyone else has to start over again. Well, in Squid Games, when they're facing you red light, if you move, you get shot. Killed, terminated, dead, over and done with. And you don't have an option of whether or not you want to play the game or not. At that point, if you've committed playing the game, if you decide you want out of the game, they kill you. They kill you. So it's very interesting game, movie, television series idea. And it's a series evidently. So I'm going to probably start watching Squid Games, seeing how that goes. South Korea, okay? Going to you're coming to my house dressed as Artemis Prime. Hell yeah, Shark, come on over, man. Squid Game, South Korea. Love it, Jewel. All right, Toy Mafia, thank you. Mini Maker, you've seen it. Beautiful. I have no idea what Squid Game is. I'm too Netflix TV show. Correct, Jewel, absolutely. I don't have Netflix yet, just YouTube. You'll probably find portions of it on YouTube. I'm sure the trailers are out there on YouTube. And you'll be quite surprised. It's quite interesting. It looks very, very dramatic, very on the edge of your seat. If you're looking for something exciting, it looks like it'll be very exciting. And yeah, the game sounds very depressing because death is on the line. Remember that from Princess Bride, where they were testing him with the Icane powder, which he has the two goblets, and Wesley puts Icane powder in the goblets, presents the goblet to the Sicilian, and tells him to choose which goblet has the Icane powder in it, which is deadly. The goblet I gave to you or the goblet that I gave to myself. And so the Sicilian goes along, because he's a genius, goes along trying to debate all the different ways of how the Icane powder could have been dispensed into these goblets to determine, did you put it in my goblet expecting me to take what I was given and drink it to die from that? Or did you know that I wouldn't take what was given to me, but take it from your goblet, so you put the Icane powder in your goblet, banking on the fact that I would take your goblet and drink from it, not drinking the one that I was given? Or maybe you knew that I was going to go for the one that was in your hand and not mine, so you didn't put it in yours or yours, but actually did put it in mine. So, of course, I then would take the one that was given to me because I would assume that the one that you have has the iocane powder in it. And he goes on and on for quite a while discussing which one could be done. And he goes, I've just begun the discussing of it. And he goes on and on and on. And then at the end, he says, as he drinks it, he says, you just fell for one of the most classic blunders of all time. Only slightly well known than never get involved in a land war in Asia, is never bet against the Sicilian, especially when death is on the line. Classic line. Wonderful movie. If you've never seen The Princess Bride, check it out. Absolutely classic movie. The Princess Bride. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to let you guys... That's your assignment this week. Either watch Squid Games or Princess Bride if you've not seen either. And if you have seen either, watch it again. Enjoy it. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all next Saturday. Enjoy Halloween if you're going to celebrate it. I hope you got candy to give to the kids if they come by. If not, just enjoy a night out. Buy the candy yourself and use it as an excuse for eating candy. So no one says, gosh, why you got so much candy in your house? Oh, it was for the kids. Yeah, we really know why it was there. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I really love you guys. I'll see y'all next week. Peace. Love you. Bye.